Have you ever walked into a dealership for a cheap little economy crossover and walk out with a feeling like you just got mugged by a guy in a polo shirt and a lanyard? You go in looking to spend 25 grand, and somehow 45 minutes later, they want $36,000 out of you because you've turned down the military discount that you didn't qualify for, and there's a warm Coke sweating on the desk in front of you. And the wildest part of it all, that entire experience is the single best marketing campaign Tesla has ever run. And they didn't even pay a dime for it. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. So I want to talk about why Tesla is absolutely taking off right now. The Model Y is the best-selling EV in America by a country mile. We're talking over 350,000 of them sold last year, and that's not even close to second place. And look, part of that is the obvious stuff. They make a good car, they make it comfortable, but that's not the whole story here. The secret weapon behind Tesla's rise isn't Elon. It isn't autopilot or full self-driving. It's car dealerships themselves. They are out there every single day accidentally selling cars for the competition. Now, listen, legacy automakers, your GMs, Fords, all those guys are absolutely frantic about Tesla. They are sweating through their suits trying to figure out how to stop it, which is hilarious because every single one of their own EV projects basically face-planted. They spent billions chasing Tesla, and most of them came back with a participation trophy and a tax write-off. But here's the kicker. It's not even Tesla beating them at this point. It's their own dealerships. It's the dealer network fighting tooth and nail against the direct-to-consumer model, the Tesla Studio model. And in doing so, they're making the whole legacy experience look so bad that they're shoving customers like me right into Elon's arms. And I know how I sound right now. Let me be clear. I don't actually love bashing on companies. That's not really my thing. But I live this personally. It happened to me. So here it is. The setup. I was in a market for a cheap little SUV, nothing fancy. I just wanted something I could sit up in, sit more vertically up and get more comfortable that way. Now, you guys know I drive a Buick Encore, and honestly, it's a great little car. It served me well, as a daily commuter. It's small, it's easy to park, sips fuel. It's actually got a nice tall seating position, almost like sitting up in a full-size SUV. And it's got a nice big greenhouse so I can actually see what's going on around me. It's got Apple CarPlay. It does not have heated seats. It doesn't have the creature comforts I like, but for what it is, it's been a champ. The problem is, lately, it's been nickel and diming me to death. And by nickel and diming, I mean fistfuls of $100 bills. I put $500 into it 4 months ago for a transmission fluid service. And then last month, $1,600 more because both of my ball joints were failing and there was a bolt that had come loose and they had to replace it because it was corroded. And then, of course, this month, I just found out that the turbo's basically toast, and that's another $1,400. This is an American classic GM machine with under 70,000 miles on it. 70,000. I would expect brakes and tires and maybe some belts and hoses. But my God, this thing has been costing me a lot for not being that old of a car. Anyway, the car should be in its prime. Instead, it's costing me more in monthly maintenance than it would cost me to just go buy a Tesla Model Y Premium right now. Let that sink in. The repair bills are now in luxury EV purchase territory. So that got the gears turning, but I'm not trying to run out and buy the most expensive thing on the lot, right? I'm just a simple guy, simple needs, very, very modest income. So I head over to a Nissan dealership to look at the Nissan Kicks, and I actually really like the Kicks. The redesign gave it a lot more presence than the old one, but here's the funny thing. It's barely bigger. Like it's only, I think, 3 or 4 inches longer. That's it. But it looks way more massive, more substantial. Now, the high-end version, the one with the off-road-ish looks, the rugged chops, a little bit more sporty, kind of gives me Subaru vibes. That one is the one that actually caught my eye. That one's totally fetch. But I'm being responsible. I was only looking at the base front-wheel drive model. Now, I've been around the block a few times. Somebody told me a long time ago, get an out-the-door price before you ever set foot in a dealership building. Don't waste your afternoon marinating at the dealership. And I know the playbook. I know a lot of their little tricks, the stalling. Let me talk to my manager. You're going to want that True Coat. They put that on at the factory. There's nothing we can do about it. Now I'll go ask him. All that theater. And I come in wise open. So I get my out the door price over the internet ahead of time. $24,900. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's pretty reasonable. I can work with that. I'll do a full breakdown on this in another video, but here's the short version of what happened next. It's not $24,900. The very first thing out of their mouth. So, are you military? No. Do I look like I'm military? Oh, well, we put in that military discount. And I love this. I love the price starts to magically include every discount they could ever apply without ever asking you about anything. Are you a recent college grad? No. Are you buying this for fleet sales? Like, are you buying 3 to 10 of these right now? No. 3 to 10 Nissan Kicks? Yeah, let me just grab a fleet of average subcompact crossovers that I don't really want just to fill out my lawn. No, the answer is no to all of them. And right there, the price starts levitating because none of those phantom discounts apply to me. A regular guy buying one car like a normal human being. So now that beautiful $24,900 number is totally gone. And the real out the door price is climbing 30 grand up to almost $36,000. $36,000. I think it was like $35,940 or something like that. For a Nissan Kicks, are you kidding me? I mean, this is the whole problem in a nutshell. They lure you in with a number. They waste your time. They spring the real figure on you like a magician pulling a rabbit out of your wallet. So I just told them straight up, we're not even close. We're not even in the same zip code. It's not even worth asking, well, what number works for you? Why don't you write down a number and I'll take it to my manager and see what he says? Because there's no number dance that's going to cover this gap. So I just left. Oh, and by the way, here's the part that experts always warn you about. The second you start walking towards that door, they come alive. Hey, hold on. We got some really interesting news. Just give me a second to get it for you. A really great offer just for you, but he's got to crunch some numbers here. Hold on. Let me grab you a drink. You want a Coke? You want a water? Just hang on a second. Suddenly, everybody's your best friend. The manager's got a special that he forgot about. All of these things just mysteriously spring out of some fresh deal that they have in the back. And I know I've seen this movie. It's just a stalling tactic. That's the part where they try to keep you in the building long enough to wear you down. No, thank you for that. I'm just leaving. But here's what really gets me. 36 grand for a car. It's not an EV. It does not have full self-driving. It doesn't have half the stuff that comes standard on a Model 3. And at that price, you are dangerously close to Model Y territory. You're standing in a Nissan showroom getting Tesla money squeezed out of you for a gas-powered subcompact with two-wheel drive and cloth seats. Now, compare that to how Tesla does it. You go on the website, you spec it out, and honestly, you can't even do very much with it. You just pick a couple things like the color and boom, it spits out your out-the-door price. I don't even know where you put in are you military or fleet sale requests or warm sodas not included. There's no manager summoning ritual. It's just the price, the one you actually pay. And because there's no dealer network sitting in the middle of that transaction taking its cut of everything, because it's basically direct to consumer, the experts estimate that it saves you somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000 per car versus if Teslas were sold through Tesla dealerships. Think about that. If you were sitting at Smitty's Tesla of McLean, you'd be out there on the sales floor with the finance officer and the balloon arch and the $40,000 Model Y standard, which would be $48,000, and you'd be signing paperwork and spending a whole afternoon. Why? Because you've got this whole other layer of business jammed in that's got to pay its salespeople, pay its rent, keep the lights on, and yes, keep that Coke fountain running for when you're running out the door. So when you stack it all up, it's a double whammy. Tesla's a genuinely good value, partly because the entire middleman layer just doesn't exist. And on the flip side, the dealerships are milking the legacy brands so hard, they should be on Pornhub. They're making everyone else look like a bargain by comparison. And this isn't some new thing, by the way. People didn't just suddenly start hating dealerships last Tuesday. This has been going on forever. The reason it has never changed is simple. There was never any real competition to force the change. The only serious attempt that I can even think of was when GM launched Saturn back in the day. Remember Saturn? The whole pitch was single, honest, no games pricing, no haggling. And it was a beautiful idea. Unfortunately, I think that the cars themselves were a little wonky and the whole thing never took off the way they'd hoped, but in large part it was because of the cars. It was a great concept. It was just a shame about the product. And sure, CarMax leaned into the no haggle thing too, but let me be real about CarMax for a second. To me, they're charging you brand new car prices on used cars. So yeah, there's no haggling, but no haggle doesn't mean good price. It just means you get to overpay quickly and without arguing about it. Efficient overpaying, I guess that's what they're offering. And then there's Tesla, just sitting there looking value priced with a simpler, more pleasant buying experience and zero theatrics. No wonder people are flocking to it. Look, the car dealership experience has been rough for a long time. That's not my fault, your fault. It's just the way it's been. I want to be fair. There are some not like this. Some dealers are probably pretty great, but some are way more egregious than the ones that I went to. And my own little recent adventure, the guy with a totally legitimate desire to buy an affordable, decent looking little compact crossover just so I can get to work and back, That whole circus didn't push me towards another Nissan. It pushed me one giant step closer to just buying a Tesla. What's the most ridiculous fee or fake discount at a dealership that they ever tried to slide past you? And did that experience warm you up to the direct-to-consumer model like Tesla? Or do you secretly enjoy going to the dealership and haggling, fighting the old fight for the good price? Because if you are, I kind of think you're in the minority. Anyway, I think almost all car dealerships are quietly pushing Teslas. Peter Von Panda, out.